Welcome to the Big Biz Show. Taking care of business. You want fast-talking, hard-hitting discussions on business and finance? Maybe with a barroom slant and some really salty peanuts? We're not counting calories. We're counting cash. Before we get to the man with the financial plan, meet the money team. Costa, Mary, and Greg. Now Captain Finance himself, Sully.
Live from the Loft 100 studios here in beautiful, sunny Southern California, it is the Big Biz Show. Costa and Mary Burt Godwin with you. This is also known as None Ya Business.
None ya.
Because it's just us two when we have control of the con, to use military terms to you. We will talk about what we want to talk about.
That's right.
Okay? Just
Broadway.
Well, if we're going to talk about Broadway,
I spent a lot of time at Broadway.
Hands.
I spent a lot of time at Broadway last week.
Okay.
Like my whole 50% of my New York trip was Broadway based.
Really?
Oh, God, yeah.
We might talk about me trying to build a Costco take it home and build it yourself shed on the show today.
Did you do that?
Yeah, I did.
Oh.
It was a mess. Before we go any further, four of the most talented musicians I know in the business. Let's say hello, of course, to the day trader Quattro today.
1, 2, 3,
Mark Hattersley there tickling the keyboards, the ivories, as they say. Mark, do they still make them out of ivory, or is it plastic?
Only really, really old pianos.
Okay, all right. So I just used a really, really old reference.
Yep.
Super. All right, you're on the East Coast.
I was on the East Coast. First, Baltimore. Got to go to Camden Yards and see opening day.
It was opening day?
It was opening day. That place was, but I was in Red Sox gear. Because my friend, I know it's a long
wait,
story.
time out.
It's a long story, but my friend who lives in Baltimore, he actually works for the organization, the Red Sox organization.
Oh, he got you the tickets?
He got us the tickets right above the dugout. We were touching the dugout, guys.
Right.
Pull up a photo. And my kids, it was just a beautiful day. It was awesome, so much fun.
Yeah.
Orioles spanked the Bo Sox, so it was fine.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. And then we took the train to New York City and had 3 days in New York, and it was gorgeous and sunny, beautiful weather.
Yeah?
And we spent a lot of time, and we saw 3 Broadway shows.
What'd you see?
Death Becomes Her, it was based on the movie with Meryl Streep and Bette Midler.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that one.
Yeah. Come on, anyone else heard of that?
Yes.
You guys, it was funny, nonstop laughing.
Time out.
I did hear of it. I mean, I
Seriously?
I'm not gonna lie to you. Yes, we heard of it.
You've heard of it,
Yeah.
but you just never didn't see it. Mark, no?
I've seen it. No,
Okay.
I've seen it.
The Broadway musical is 10 times better than the movie. Pure comedy from beginning to end. You're not believing me, but you would like
Just
it.
tell me where you and Howie went late night, okay?
Do you know what?
Howie Font, our
It's Howie
financial
here
analyst.
because I honestly didn't even call Howie.
Ouch.
He wanted. It just didn't work out. You know how that happens?
You know what? She just said, it's not you, it's me.
It is. It's not him, it's me. I thought of it 4 times because we were down in the financial district at visiting a university.
You're on his doorstep.
I pretty much was. Sorry, Howie, I love you. But you know what? I was with
Howie, she is not sorry.
Is he here?
No, we don't.
Okay. So he's pissed. He's not coming into work today.
Okay, so
He's mad at me.
you saw she died or something? What's it called again?
Death Becomes Her.
Okay.
And then I saw Gypsy, which is like the 10th remake of it, with Audra McDonald, who is the most decorated Tony Award winner ever.
Oh my God,
And she was,
love her.
Wait, I gotta tell you, she wasn't good though.
Never heard of her. Go ahead.
She wasn't good.
Oh no.
I mean, people are raving about her performance, but I couldn't handle it. And my kids wanted to murder me that I took them to this.
Okay, all right.
Anyway, the third one was called Hadestown, which also won the Tony maybe 4 or 5 years ago. That was pretty good, but there was 2.
It's Hadestown.
No, it's dark. It's like about the underworld, but here's the thing.
Oh, like the Hades, the god
Exactly.
of the underworld? Okay.
There was 2 performers that I thought, they're kind of ruining the show. They were the understudies. So here's what you get.
You should get half back on your ticket.
I know. You know what? That's part of the crapshoot. But I did get the tickets for half price
Oh, okay.
at TKTS booth. So
All right.
whatever. It was worth it.
All right, there was a lot more like that coming your way today on the Big Biz Show.
I got more about Broadway.
No, that's okay. That's enough. Enough Broadway for today, or the year. All right, much more to come. Keep it here. over 175 countries, all the ships at sea on the American Forces Network. It is the Big Biz Show. We roll on from the Loft 100 studios. Of course, as we always say to the men and women of the United States Armed Forces, for what you do, what you've done for us, thank you. In studio.
A quick question.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I want to know if the band knows any Broadway show tunes to keep the Broadway theme going.
Okay, the band that she's alluding to, of course, is the disgustingly talented Day Trader Quattro.
The best in the biz.
A fourth of the band Sullivan. And we talked in our first segment about show tunes. Do you guys normally practice show tunes as you're getting ready for a gig?
No.
All the time.
You know
Every day.
You know Greatest Showman.
Yeah.
Well, there's that. I see you, Mary. Okay.
Oh, thank you. I got you. Anyway, maybe work one up over the next commercial break for me.
And I got to say, this really, really fast before we get to one of our favorite guests, Mr. Shane Schaffer. We get to come into this studio every single day, and we get to listen to this.
Yep.
And this is insane. And then we get to come out here and put on a good show because of that behind us, which is the best technical crew
in the control room.
In the control room.
Seriously.
And
let's see their mugs. They're so good.
I tell everybody.
There they are.
There they
There's
are.
Chris.
Love them.
My only other female counterpart in this whole entire building is Chris. Thank God
Christy
for her.
Castillo.
Yes.
If they can make a diseased lab monkey like me look good, then you know that they're doing their business.
Oh my gosh. I thought you were going to say me. I'm really glad.
No.
Okay.
That type of insult you have to throw only at yourself.
Yes. Okay.
Joining us right now, he has quickly become one of our favorite guests. He is the chairman CEO of Cingulate. Their ticker symbol is CING. And what they are doing for people with ADHD and making it so much easier in their lives, not only deal with it, but the people who they live with, who are taking care of them, the ones to Shane Schaffer back with us here on the Big Biz Show. Mr. Schaffer, my friend, how are you, sir?
Welcome back.
Great to see you guys. How you doing?
We're doing.
I think I've heard them do some Looney Tunes in the past too. That was fun.
Oh yeah, there's Looney Tunes. They know that to deal with us.
I walk in the room, but that's okay.
I recently had the great privilege and honor of eavesdropping in on a board meeting.
That's when I was on my vacation, yeah.
With Team Cingulate, and it was awesome. And you quickly realize why this company is the rocket that it is, and they are on the trajectory, the path that they are going on. Shane, if you can though, for people who might be tuning in for the first time, long time type of thing, just give us the quick nickel version of the genesis of Cingulate and how you arrived where you are with your therapy.
Yeah, so Cingulate was born in 2014, so it's been a ride. Our whole focus from the very beginning was taking a look at major therapeutic areas where billions of dollars are being spent, and yet patients are not having very good or optimized outcomes. We focused on ADHD immediately, just due to the fact there's probably 8 different major issues like onset of action, the duration of action, make sure you cover that entire active day, the booster doses that patients are being forced to take as a recovery medication, the abuse and the diversion that go along with that, the side effects, the tolerability. We knew we could do better. And what we did is we built our own drug delivery platform from the ground up. And it's going to be something that we've already now used in ADHD. We'll soon be looking at it in a second ADHD asset, an anxiety asset. And then it also has the potential for us to use for future medications and say insomnia, take cardiovascular disorders, xerostomia, movement disorders, as well as a tool we can use to license to other pharmaceutical manufacturers that need to have this really unique, first of its kind technology that allows us to take 2, 3, or 4 of the same or different molecules and then deliver them in the precise ratio, the precise timing, and precise style of delivery that the human body needs in order to optimize therapy. That's us in a nutshell. And we're now at a point where we're getting ready to submit our lead asset to the FDA. We met with the FDA last week and had an extremely productive meeting. And we're just really excited about where the future of Cingulate is going to be heading here in the very near term.
Shane, that sounds so awesome. And every time I talk to you, I'm like, I need to be a guinea pig for Cingulate because I need it desperately. But I want to talk to you about this precision timed release. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, this is one of the things, because there's lots of talk out there about some of the ADHD medication that is abused, and you mentioned abuse of it, but I believe with this precision timed release, it's nearly impossible for Cingulate to actually be abused, right?
Well, so it's a great point. And when you talk about abuse of a particular product, at the end of the day, give me a really good organic chemist and they can figure anything out and they'll find
Walter
a way
White.
to abuse something, right? But what we're really focusing on is not so much the fact that our technology, and I'll pull it out real quick. I mean, this is all a patient will take. That's it. That's your daily dose. And in order to try to abuse this, you do need to be an organic chemist. But what we're really focusing on is the fact that since 60% of patients in the ADHD space today are getting that short-acting stimulant to really act as a recovery medication because their initial drug doesn't start fast enough or in all cases doesn't last long enough, that short-acting product is easily abusable. You crack it, you crush it, you snort it, you share it. It's sadly the reality of it.
Yeah.
All patients won't need that because the third dose, as you see here in the video, it's built in. So we're already timing it in a place where the patient won't have to experience that sort of, that downward spiral where the ADHD symptoms return. And instead, we stop that, we build the booster in, and we add efficacy, duration, and we give a patient, an entire active day of efficacy.
So, taking these, and let's say, like you said, chopping it up and snorting them, it's not going to give you the same effect that the immediate short term that you were just talking about, that there's other medications that people are doing that, because it's not going to give them the same feeling, right?
Yeah, and look, our goal is not to create a feeling of euphoria. It's about really creating a medication that helps you stop the ADHD symptoms. It's a neurobiological disorder. I mean, basically, if you have ADHD, you're very intelligent to start with. You have a high IQ, on average higher than most. But what the issue is you have too much of what's called the dopamine transport reuptake. You're basically sucking out the dopamine where it needs to be sticking around. And what we want to do is have a soft, sort of stoppage of that. Let the neurochemicals do what they're supposed to do, the neurotransmitters, and then just make sure the medication's on for the appropriate period of time. That's what we've done, and that's what our data has shown. And at the end of the day, with our meeting last week with the FDA, it's like you guys have done a great job. We're on track now to submit our new drug application in the middle part of this year. We're targeting the July-August timeframe. So
Shane Schaffer, Shane.
No, you're fine.
Shane Schaffer, Chairman, CEO of Cingulate, their ticker symbol, CING. Give me, just kind of peel back the curtain, though, when you go into a meeting with the FDA. Is it a bunch of people in lab coats and dark, glasses looking down their noses at you, just looking for anything they can, peck out and say, no, you're not ready? Or how does that go?
No, they're good people, just like like all of us. What the FDA is looking at is to, number one, make sure the medication that is being sent for approval is safe. They want to understand the safety of it, and part of that safety understanding is around manufacturing. So how do we manufacture our product? The questions that we discussed with the agency were largely around that, manufacturing, the colors of the tablets, the dissolution specs, things like that, just so they need to understand that this product is well manufactured and it's going to be safe when given to patients. But it's a very collaborative environment. The division chair, they do great jobs of making sure that we understand what they're looking for. We ask them, does this make sense? And it's been a long road for us. We've hit some hurdles. COVID was fun.
Sure.
But at the end of the day, we've had very good dialogue with the agency, and we're in a position now where we're excited to stay on track and get this product submitted to the FDA.
So then, Shane,
No white lab coats.
So then tell us the next step. So you're waiting for this approval, and then, how long and what's the next step towards commercialization, and what does that process look like?
So we've already executed our joint commercialization agreement with Indegene. So Indegene is really the number one in our mind, as well as from their overall financials. They are a go-to-market commercialization company. They work today with 20 of the top 20 global pharma companies. So they're working with Pfizer, Novartis, Sanofi, Glaxo, Moderna, Amgen, Cingulate. They're the ones that are behind the scenes. So you see the Cingulate name, the Pfizer name, the Merck name. But at the end of the day, it's the go-to-market capabilities that Indegene has built over 25 years that incorporates artificial intelligence and machine learning, understands providers' digital affinity, like how much does a physician or provider go to the digital world versus the face-to-face world. And then what we do is, we've bolted on to that incredible engine. And instead of going out and raising $150 million to fund our own field force, our own commercial operation, build all of this technology, and talk about a waste of money, you will fail and spend a lot of money. We now bolt on for the cost of a DocuSign. And that's what we're doing. We were ready to work with Indegene and commercialize this product.
Cool.
Changing people's lives, all for the better. That's Shane Schaffer to a T, Chairman, CEO of Cingulate, their ticker symbol CING. Always great to talk to you, buddy. We're always smarter after you visit us. At least I am. I feel that way.
Yeah.
Doing great stuff. All right, keep it right here. Much more to come with the Big Biz Show. Big Biz Show rolls on live from the Loft 100 studios. We are in beautiful, sunny Southern California. Wherever you're watching, wherever you're listening, I forgot to say this in the opening. A big old howdy to ya.
Oh, I missed that. Howdy to ya.
As we say here on the Big Biz, it's a Nunya edition. When Mary and I take over the whole operation, it's Nunya business. That music you hear in the background, of course, it is the world famous, as I said earlier, disgustingly talented tape trader Quattro, a quarter of the world famous Sullivan band. Gents, always great to see your beautiful, shining faces.
Best in the biz.
Best in the biz.
Thank you.
Our good friend David D'Arcangelo is with us, of course, author of The Secret Asset and making millions with insurance-grade life insurance. And David, I purchased a do-it-yourself, put-it-together shed from Costco 2 weeks ago, and I'm still putting it together.
That must be a nightmare.
It is a nightmare, and there's a couple times, I can't lie, I've thought of just ending it all because of the freaking shed. And it draws me to that question, is my life insurance in order? If I, in fact, want to take the drill right into my brain.
I was trying to figure out how are you going to wrap the insurance into that.
Well, as my good buddy Trace always says, bring the bus back around,
Right.
and you're good to go. If you can, for people who might be tuning in for the very first time, talk about this book and secrets, wisdom that you pass on to people as far as their life insurance is concerned.
Yeah, the biggest thing I say is life insurance is the most understood asset that you have ever heard about, because when you hear it mathematically the right way, which again, most insurance agents get into the business, they're in for a few years and they're out.
Gotcha.
And so nobody really a lot of people don't have a chance to get the real nuances of it, really understand it. Why do wealthy people buy as much life insurance as they can qualify for, and the rest of the people say, "Oh, I don't need any." Right. So because
we're going to live forever. That's
so I'm going to you're going to live forever. So, and why does everybody say they buy a life insurance policy, and then they get to 70s, and they go, "Oh, I don't need that policy anymore." And I go, "What? Why? You're 75 years old. You're 10 years away from life expectancy.
Exactly.
So they actually, the insurance company, you'll be one of the few people that actually collect any money because you stayed. So why would you quit?"
Do they still insure you after a certain age? You still can get it whenever, right?
This
is probably a dumb question.
This is a good one.
Okay.
So you should. Every generation wants to help the next generation. Some just don't have the kind of money.
Sure.
So you can do it in a different way. So I have a doctor, he's retired, his mom's 80, him and his sister they read my book, they call me up and they go, "We just talked to our mom about your idea. She's 80 years old, and she'll pay half the premium on a policy. Now 80. Life expectancy average is 84, 85.
Is that where the Mendoza line is right now as far as, okay.
Yes, so and then if you get to 84, you get a better chance of getting to 90. But so anyway, they bought we qualified mom, 80 years old, a $1 million policy. Mom said she would pay half the premium. The premiums sound expensive, but remember, she's 80.
Yeah.
$67,000 a year.
Okay.
Right? So mom pays 33.
Right.
Larry and his sister pay 33 times divided by 2, which is like 16,000 each. 5 years later, mom passes away.
Right.
They collect $1 million in cash, tax-free, which is like getting $2 million because you don't have to, where you would pay the tax.
Yeah.
So they're sitting there. They paid 5 years of Larry and his sister, $16,000 a year for 5 years. Got $500,000 each.
Wow.
And then you just sprinkle a little something in mom's applesauce. It's like I'm on Easy Street, right?
Yeah. And now Larry goes, I got it. You got the book. I read that. He goes, so our kids should be buying policies on us. And then when they get older and collect your death benefit, then their kids should buy policies on them. It's like free money.
David DeArcangelo is the author of The Secret Asset: Making Millions with Investment Grade Life Insurance. Make sure you get this. Where is this available anywhere you can get a book? Pretty much.
If you go on my website, thesecretasset.com,
okay,
you can download it for free. I don't even sell it. I just give it away.
Good for you.
Yeah.
So how come this is not explained very well? And I know of term life insurance, but that's totally different, right?
Term life insurance is you buy it for 10 years. It's cheap, and rightfully so. 10-year period, 20-year period, or a 30-year period.
Yeah.
So people buy it, and then they get older again, and it either terms out your 10, 20 years or so,
right?
Or they go, why am I paying this thing anymore? Right? Why? I don't need it anymore. So I have a client, and he calls me up, and he goes, I talked to him about his insurance, and he goes, yeah, that policy, there's that term policy, I don't need it anymore. And I said, you don't need it anymore. Okay. I said, okay. I said, instead of quitting and losing all your money, now you're 70, right? Life expectancy is like 84.
Yeah, right.
I said, now, if there's a conversion privilege where you can convert the term insurance that is going to end in that 10-year or 20-year, if there's a conversion privilege, they let you convert it so it lasts the rest of your life.
Oh, I need to look into this.
I said, and then we could sell it.
Okay, so if I walk into Vito's House of Insurance,
right,
and I'm saying, hey, I need some life insurance, and he knows that I have read this
right,
cover to back to cover, and that I'm educated on this, does that matter with them, or is that one of those situations where they see me coming and go, oh man, this guy's going to put me through the ringer. He knows all about life insurance.
Yeah, I mean, if you read the book, if you've read the book, you know the ideas. You're not blind anymore.
Okay.
You have information. It's dangerous information because you don't really know it all, but you know there's something there, and you're digging. And that's why the book's been so popular for so many years, because it's popular for the insurance agents, but it's popular for the people who are buying insurance.
Do they not want you to know about it?
No, they don't. It's just it's just like the real estate industry is like life insurance agents. They come in, a lot of people come in, and it's a swinging door, and they go.
Right.
Okay.
And you don't really dig in enough.
Yeah.
Do they freely offer you this information? And when you're going in to talk about a policy with them, do they say, oh, by the way, you're 70, you're 15 years old, 85, that type of thing?
Yep. They love it. It's just like it just shows you not to be afraid. It's make money.
It's inevitable.
Inevitable.
The Secret Asset: Making Millions with Investment Grade Life Insurance. The author, David DiArcangelo, always great to have you in studio.
Yeah.
Making the world smarter about something that everybody doesn't want to talk about ever. Death. All right, keep it here. Much more to come with the Big Biz Show. That is the Day Trader Quattro, a quarter of the world famous Sullivan Band. Of course, Costa, Maryburg, Godwin with you. Special edition of the Big Biz Show. We call it None Your Business. We will tell you what we're going to talk about. You will listen and you will learn and you will sit there quietly.
Today's episode brought to you by Broadway.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Can I tell you about my trip to the Museum of Broadway? Because there's
Please.
a whole new Museum of Broadway.
Please do real fast before we get to our good buddy Alon
God,
Goren.
I got to see the candlesticks from Les Mis, the actual candlesticks, Evita's gown. I mean, this thing is the best. Should I go on?
Do it. Do it.
Hey,
Yeah, please.
Our next guest is probably extraordinarily fascinated by this.
No, you know, as brilliant as Alon Goren is, he probably can sit here and
Let's ask him
talk
what his
till he's
favorite musical
blue in
is.
the face.
Let's
Of course,
ask him.
Alon Goren, founding partner of Draper Goren Blockchain. He's the guy who gets us more learned on crypto and blockchain and stuff like that. And that's always great to have him back here on the Big Biz Show. Alon, my friend, how are you?
Doing great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, are you a Broadway musical aficionado by any chance? Please say no.
My daughter loves musicals, so I watch The Greatest Showman with her. I try to
Okay.
convince her that The Lorax is a great musical.
Yes,
And,
Lorax
you
is
know,
a good one, actually. I agree.
Okay.
But,
Well,
but
I
I
need to
know
talk to
nothing.
your
I know
daughter.
nothing other than sounds great. This is fun. You know.
All right, your credentials check out. Okay, you're
Well, your
an
daughter
expert.
sounds really great, so
Yeah.
I'd like to meet her.
Alon, before we talk about where crypto and the blockchain and things like that are going, what has been your assessment of what has happened with the markets the last week and how it's affecting the area
yeah,
of
it's-
life you're in?
Yeah, I think that most people aren't. Actually, I'd say the most average person doesn't feel affected on day to day, but knows something is coming, or at least that's how it feels for a lot of us.
Sure.
And I think that, if you are holding a lot of crypto, or if you're holding a lot of stocks and things like that, you're just seeing fear firsthand, right? So when people are scared, they're not going to be able to pay their bills, they sell their most liquid assets first. And crypto, stocks, those are your most liquid asset. They're the easiest ones to sell, fastest way to get cash in your pocket to pay the mortgage. So, we're seeing that play from hour to hour, right? There's rumors tariffs are going away, tariffs are coming, tariffs are going
And
away,
whiplash.
and you're just watching.
Yeah.
And you know who wins? You know who wins? The exchanges,
Of course.
because there's higher volume than ever before, and they get fees no matter which way the stocks are going.
Unbelievable. Well, and it's, a great man always says, stock market is run on two things, fear and greed. And it's not the economy. And that guy's name, I think, is Sully. He's on some show that I listen to once in a while.
Whatever. He's not here though, so we can.
I know.
He's not.
This is a better show anyway.
We're driving the bus, buddy.
That's right.
No, but and Sully raises that point, but you're right. Everybody goes to the immediate Chicken Little. Sky's falling. It's all over. I'm looking at my account, et cetera, where breathe, take a step back. And it's easy for someone to say who's not really feeling the financial bite, but maybe there's somebody out there who thought, I'm throwing it all in crypto, man. It's the way, nothing's ever going to happen to it. And you might be freaking out a little bit.
Yeah, well, I think we all would be if we did exactly, if you kind of blindly just go crypto, I heard of Doge, I heard of this,
Yes.
I'm gonna go blindly in. But I think that, like with everything else, people who are really long tend to be the greatest winners, right?
Yep.
Most people aren't winning in Vegas, right? They go, they're having a good time. Now, if you treat the stock market the same way, you're probably also not going to win. But if you are, people who famously, right, like family members, friends of yours you saw growing up, the people who had the wealth, there were the people who were long, who bought real estate, who held on to things for long periods of time. And I think that's going to happen now. Yes, there's people manipulating the crap out of everything.
Yep.
The average person amongst us isn't going to win that game. But if you really believe in something and you hold it long term and you look at it as an industry, right? Everybody talked about the internet bubble popping. People have now talked about the crypto bubble popping. But if you told somebody when the internet bubble popped that every hot dog stand would be connected to every single person's phone because every single person's phone would have the internet on it and there'd be no such thing as an internet company in the future, that every company would be an internet company, they'd be like, oh, who sold you that idea?
Right.
You're probably down 99%, right? What an idiot. So that's where we are in crypto, but that's where we are with a lot of things, right? With these tariffs and things, everyone's freaking out. And these things take time. I don't know if it's the right move. My politics don't line up with almost any party almost at any time. But do I believe we're all going to be okay? And I think if we're, like you said, playing it calm and you play the long game, I think we're all going to be okay.
Oh, I love that. I'm so happy you're here. But so, Alon, I want to talk a little bit about, U.S. regulatory, advancements in the space of crypto, because it was this thing that there has been no regulation. I know we've talked about it a little bit, but where are we with that in this digital asset industry? Because it does seem to be growing by leaps and bounds, and it seems like we do need some regulation, yeah?
Yeah, and I love the term digital asset because that kind of implies that all assets that become digital will become a digital asset, right? Like if you invest in my company, one day that should be more digital than it is today, right? And right now, people lump in digital assets, Bitcoin, Ethereum, things like that. But in general, there are people tokenizing and digitizing real estate, tokenizing and digitizing startups and things like that. And the biggest problem was we were in this gray area and this no man's land when it came to regulation. Regulation, at least, we're being told that it's changing now. Previous to this administration, we were kind of in this wait and see regulation by enforcement thing, which is kind of was an excuse to not come up with any regulation. They would just be like, we know fraud when we see it. And then when they would then slap somebody on the wrist, we would go, okay, you can't do that. And then, when somebody else got in trouble, okay, you can't do that. But nobody told us what we can do. And one of the things this administration did do is say, here's a bunch of things that we have no interest in coming after because we want this innovation in America. And for the first time ever, we've talked about it on the show, I was seeing young Americans leave the country to start their companies just because of that gray area. They weren't doing anything shady or wrong. There are people doing shady things. They don't care what country they're in, right? But the people who are doing the right thing were leaving the country to start their businesses. And not that I am so nationalistic that I think every company should be based in America, but I'm an American and I don't want my friends and family to feel like they need to leave the country to start a good business. This is the land of opportunity, right? This is why my parents came to this country. This is why most of our ancestors came to this country. Let's continue to be the land of opportunity. So that's what's kind of happening now. Regulatory wise, they're making it clear that they're not going to go after people who are doing the right thing, who aren't defrauding people, who aren't causing problems. And I think that we're going to see a lot of changes. I mean, even the crypto price websites and even our own portfolio company like Lunar Crush, where you get data on cryptocurrencies, have sections of their site now that say, cryptocurrencies made in America, right? And that's going to expand to other digital assets, like I mentioned, those digitized real estate, digitized private companies and things like that, where they're actually saying if you participate in American-made cryptocurrencies, we're going to actually give you favorable tax benefits and things like that, which is another way to encourage investment and trade in America, which I'm all for.
Alon Goren is the founding partner of Draper Goren Blockchain. Always great to talk with him. Website is dgb.vc. Alon, President Trump addressed, oh my God, look, my Sharpie's orange. President Trump addressed the Digital Asset Summit and talk about the urging Congress to pass the stable coin bill.
Yeah, so, stable coins are like de facto the digital dollar now, right? So stable coin, at least the term is supposed to imply that the thing that's backing that coin actually exists and it's stable. And most of the stable coins that people use, like if you use Coinbase, for example, you use something called USDC. A company called Circle, supposedly, actually not supposedly, they have audited statements that are available public, have $1 in a bank account for every USDC token that exists online. Yeah. So they basically made a digital dollar. And what the current administration is saying is that they don't want to have a CBDC, which stands for central bank digital currency, but they kind of by default through these private companies do.
Yeah.
But essentially they want to make sure that there's regulation amongst these things so that they are considered kosher by the government, by the exchanges and groups, and they actually make transacting on the dollar fast and instant. Because the current rails aren't fast and instant. This is. And so they're creating regulation to make that innovation happen in the United States.
Alon Goren, founding partner, Draper Goren Blockchain, their website, dgb.vc. Alon, thank you so much for your time today. All right, keep it here. Much more to come. It is the Big Biz Show. See you in just a second. It is the Big Biz Show. We come to you from Southern California inside the beautiful Loft 100 studios. Those beautiful faces right there belong to the Day Trader Trio. Best in the business. No lessons. Self-taught. Here at the bar, it's Costa, our executive producer, Greg Todorov, and of course, Sully.
Question for you. What are you paying for gas these days? Do you even know?
Oh, I just filled up. It was $5.18.
Yeah. I remember being on News Radio 600 Kogo when gas prices went from $2.35 to almost $4 overnight, and people didn't think they were going to be able to pay their mortgage because of it. And the issue is, as gas prices go higher here across the country, especially in California, as things get better, we just got used to higher gas prices. Mm-hmm. And I remember the excuse used to be, well, in Canada they're paying $8 a gallon. You're thinking, well, that'll never get here. Yep. Joining us today, our good buddy Patrick DeHaan, who of course is from GasBuddy.com. Patrick, I got to tell you, here in California, it shakes my head that people even survive on this. But how high can this go before we just keep? What is a reasonable price per gallon before we start calling uncle and start to just say, well, I'm not going to drive anymore? I don't think there's a number.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a number.
Well, not a whole lot would probably shock Californians anymore, right? You've probably seen the 5s, the 6s, you've seen the 7s at the Chevron in downtown LA. So not a whole lot of sticker shock anymore. But, the last couple of weeks, to your point, gas prices have really surged on the West Coast. You can see the map behind me. The West Coast is beet red. And, it's that adage we've always mentioned, refineries. And that's the problem now. A refinery fire back in February has caused a big drop in the amount of output from California's refineries. We're making the transition to summer gasoline. We have all the seasonal factors, and that's caused a bit of a sticker shock with California's average going up about 19 cents a gallon in the last week. Oregon, Washington, Arizona, Nevada, all on board for those increases as well. It's kind of interesting. You mentioned Canada, kind of the opposite happening in Canada today. You don't hear this often, so I wanted to share it with you. Across most of Canada today, almost a 60-cent a gallon drop in gasoline prices. Canada canned its carbon taxes. Keep in mind, that's a system that California has that we've cited for high prices in California. Maybe it's time California follows Canada's lead and ditches the carbon tax.
Well, and what are we paying? 88 cents extra per gallon for environmental taxes here, not to mention the other taxes. And let's not forget, we have the dreaded summer blend coming here in California, which I don't know if that means anything, but it means higher gas prices.
So good over ice.
Sounds delicious.
Yes.
Where is it? Hey, Patrick, where's the least expensive gas in the country? Is it in Texas, something like that? It's got to be.
If you look deep into the South, you'll generally find some of the lowest prices. I'm going to look up the lowest city here for you today. Right now, Mississippi is the nation's lowest price state at $2.67.
Jeez.
But if you go to some cities in Louisiana and Texas, averages $2.51, $2.56. Tyler, Texas, $2.58. So, You know,
Do you know what's in Tyler, Texas? Do you know what's in Tyler, Texas?
Nothing.
A gas
Well,
station.
yeah, there you go. I was going to say, not any of us today. We'd love to be there to fill up our tanker trucks.
It's full service. Exactly.
So if we drive to Mississippi, guys, we fill up our tanks and then drive back to California, we're winning, right?
This reminds me of in college when we drive down to Tijuana to get our tanks filled.
Yes.
And come back and
Chemex.
it would smell.
Yeah.
Your car would smell differently.
Yep.
So where does this leave us? Is there any sort of government intervention that we could count on making this worse, or is there anything that we can't really vote with our feet here because you need your car to get to work, you need your car to get your kids to school.
Yeah.
I mean, it's here in California, it's a way of life. I mean, the only thing I can
really
think of is an
is.
exodus.
Yeah, and you know, by the way, an interesting study came out just a couple of weeks ago highlighting California. You know, Governor Newsom's been after the oil companies and said, oh, they're gouging, prices are high because of oil companies, this, oil companies, that. A USC study looked at that and basically said, no, California, it's your regulations. It's the very tight environmental rules and regulations on refineries that have basically caused a huge drop in the amount of refineries in California. By the way, this is not a tune that's going to sound any better. By the end of this year, another refinery in California is set to close. That refinery produces over 8% of gasoline in California. And the end of the year, it's done. So this is going to open up a whole nother can of worms for down the road. And by the way, the problem's so bad that you have California even anticipating or potentially interested in buying its own refinery. That should tell you how big the problems are.
Patrick DeHaan is the head of petroleum analysis. GasBuddy, gasbuddy.com is the website. Well, we know it's dangerous to buy Teslas, so we're kind of screwed with the high gas and whatnot, Patrick. You know, Gavin Newsom, our governor, has kind of been doing this media tour where he's trying to get himself a little bit back to center instead of far left. But is it the environmentalists just have their claws so deep in the state? He's you know, someone's going to die trying.
Yeah, you know, to be completely fair to Newsom, this problem didn't just spring up when Newsom took the oath of office. This has been decades in the making.
No, this is Governor Moonbeam Jerry Brown. This is back when he was dating Linda Ronstadt back in the 70s. This all happened.
This goes back a while. This is going to take a while to peel back all the layers off this onion and get back to center. To your point, I mean, I think California is obviously, you know, very ahead of the time when it comes to clean air and emissions, but it's not like Texas or Mississippi where gas prices are below $3 are, you know, just clouded with pollution either.
Yeah. You know, what's interesting, if you look at the map, Oregon and Washington, of course, obviously environmental states, you know, they're environmental centric. It's all sort of the same thing there. Is the reason you're seeing yellows and oranges, which for your price map means higher prices, is that because of environmental fees, or is this because the availability of distribution? What are the reasons for Oregon and Seattle, or Oregon and Washington to have the same sort of problem as California?
Well, Washington also implemented a cap and trade program. It was jealous of California winning the title for the most expensive prices. So Oregon, I think last year said, hey, let's jump in and let's try this ourselves. But really, the entire West Coast is contingent on a lot of the refineries in California. California refineries produce gasoline not just for California, but Arizona, Nevada, Oregon, and Washington. So if a refinery goes down in California, it's not going to just hit Californians. It's going to hit the entire West Coast. And that's the map you're seeing there.
So what I have to ask you, Patrick, you've been on the air with us probably for 15 years total from the very beginning. What do you predict here going forward for the rest of this year and for the next couple of years? Is this, pardon me, is this stasis here, or is this an overreaction? And we'll see gas prices kind of float back down to the 350s and 4s, or are those days over?
Yeah, I wouldn't say they're over, but I think policy is probably making them less possible. I think once things settle down here this summer, gas prices will be in the low to mid $4 a gallon range. Where we are now is abnormal because that refinery loss. But in the years ahead, as I mentioned, the shutdown of a major refinery here later this year, it's going to keep pressure on California's prices down the road. I mean, even if you do make the transition to EVs ahead of anyone else, you still need refining capacity. There's still millions of vehicles that rely on gasoline. So it's going to be problematic. It's going to be really interesting because states like Arizona and Nevada have pleaded with California to be a little bit more common sense when it comes to refineries. I don't see this getting better, but I see California under tremendous pressure to try and make something a little bit better.
He's Patrick. Sorry.
It'll get better for us because we're moving to Tyler, Texas.
Exactly.
Yep, that's right.
Patrick DeHaan, head of petroleum analysis, GasBuddy. GasBuddy.com is the website. And that is going to do it for this edition of The Big Biz. Hope we didn't give you gas. We'll see you next time.